This is a simple barista training video on how you can properly store your coffee beans so that they can stay fresh for a much longer period of time. If you don't properly store your coffee beans, they will lose the flavor and aroma within a short period of time. And this is one of the reasons that is going to prevent you from making a good cup of coffee. So if you're someone who's interested in knowing how you can make a good cup of coffee, it's key for you to know how to properly store your coffee beans. And the journey starts by understanding the common enemies of your coffee beans. These enemies are the reasons why your coffee beans will get old very fast and still, resulting into a cup of coffee with no flavor, with no creamer, and this is going to be a bad experience. You might be asking yourself, does coffee really expire, and why is it so important that you need to know how to properly store your coffee? Look at coffee as a seed from a coffee plant. So if you leave it exposed to oxygen, heat, water, smell, or light, this fruit will end up getting spoiled very fast. There are some guidelines on how you can store your coffee. So for me to be able to explain this video to you as a beginner barista with no experience and understand it like a pro, the first step is going to be the 5 common enemies of coffee, which are oxygen, heat, moisture, light, and odor. The second step is going to be how we can prevent those enemies from coming into contact with our coffee. And the third part is going to be how long you should store your coffee before it can get expired or lose flavor. Oh, before we dive in, I had forgotten something. I wanted us to first clear this debate. Should you keep your coffee in the freezer? Yes or no? Let me know in the comment section below, because I'm going to be explaining this later on in this video. Let's start with the 5 enemies of coffee. How you can prevent them, by which is the best way that you can store your coffee beans. Should you store your coffee beans in just a Ziploc bag like this, or you should just buy a container just like this, which is airtight, to store your coffee beans? For you to know which is the right way of storing your coffee beans, it's not only about the containers, but also understanding other key factors, starting with enemy number 1, and this is the most common one, which is oxygen. Oxygen and coffee are not good partners. Because of oxygen is the reason why you'll hear someone telling you to keep your coffee in an airtight container or a sealed coffee bag that you use to buy your coffee beans, because most of the coffee bags have this lock that you can seal back after opening it. Though all those containers which release oxygen, like these ones that I'll link in the description below, you can check them out on my Amazon affiliation link. And if you like one of them and you'd like to purchase it, I get a small commission, and this is an easy way that you can support this channel so that we can all make the best cup of coffee and share the different coffee knowledge to help other beginner baristas and home baristas. So getting back, common enemy number 2 is going to be heat. If coffee gets in contact with heat, whether you're using these integrated grinders on your espresso machine, the moment the espresso machine heats up and becomes warm, it's going to affect the coffees which are inside the coffee bean hopper. This is why often they recommend that you only add coffee beans in your coffee bean hopper, the ones that you're going to use. Don't compare yourself to professional baristas, because professional baristas don't keep their coffee for a much long period of time. If they put in a kilo of coffee, most of the time they are consuming it within 1 day or 2 days. This will ensure that they make the good cup of coffee. But if you're a home barista, I don't recommend for you to pour all your coffee beans in the coffee bean hopper and keep them there. This is what is going to cause your coffee beans to get old very fast and lose flavors. And if you're a barista working in a coffee shop which is not very busy, Don't overfill your coffee bean hamper, because eventually the top coffee beans which you don't use within 2 days will start losing flavors. You won't be able to have the same flavor filled cup that you get when you're using the freshly roasted coffee beans. This will lead us to our common enemy number 3, which is moisture. Moisture, also you can call it water. The moment coffee comes in contact with water, it's going to start brewing. You should make sure whenever you're going to store your coffee, the area you're storing your coffee should be dry with no water. Your containers, you should wipe them very clean. This is why most of the time before you grind your coffee, you need to wipe your pot filter so that you remove any water, because the moment coffee grinds or coffee gets in contact with water, it starts brewing, and this is what leads to loss of flavors. And the fourth enemy of coffee is going to be light. Even if you're having an airtight container just like this, it's not recommendable for you to just keep it on your coffee counter or shelf direct to too much light. We highly recommend that you keep your coffee beans in a dark place. This is what is going to prevent these coffee beans from losing a lot of flavor and aroma. Instead of using these glass transparent jugs or the Ziploc bags, I highly recommend that you should try out something like this. These airtight containers, which are all covered so light can't get in contact with your coffee. And this is going to lead us to coffee enemy number 5. This is not very common, but I think it's something that you should keep in mind, because coffee absorbs every smell. When coffee comes in contact with anything that smells, it's going to absorb that smell. That's why most professional baristas, they don't recommend that you wear strong perfumes, because coffee can absorb those perfumes. If you're someone who drinks coffee, you've encountered coffee beans that are infused with the different tropical fruits, giving you that winey or match flavors in your cup of coffee. The reason why professionals are able to achieve those infused coffees is because of the ability that coffee has to absorb everything that you put next to it. We highly recommend not to keep your coffee in the fridge or chiller where there is other types of food or anything that smell. And the last one, which is the debate, should you keep your coffee in a freezer? If you're someone who wants to store your coffee for a much longer period of time, you can use the freezer, but make sure to portion your coffee in small containers. So every time that you want to brew, you just get that one container, defrost it, and make your cup of coffee. I believe now you have a clear understanding on what are the things that you should have in the back of your mind when you think of storing your coffee. First, preventing oxygen. You need something which is airtight, which won't allow your coffee to get in contact with oxygen. For the heat, make sure you keep your coffee far away from heat. And if you're grinding, because there are heat coming from the grinder and also the machine, you only put the coffee that you're going to grind and use. For the third enemy, which is water, you don't allow any water to come into contact with your coffee until you're ready to brew it. And the fourth enemy, which is light, make sure to store your coffee in a dark place so that there is no light coming into contact with your coffee. And the last one, make sure to keep your coffee away from odor so that you don't allow anything interfering with the aromas of your coffee. These are the 5 different ways that you can store your coffee for a much longer period of time. Now let's talk about when is the right time for us to start consuming our coffee, and when will this coffee get old and lose flavor, become stale, or expire. The first thing, most roasters recommend for you to start consuming coffee 2 weeks after being roasted. When you're buying your coffee, the first thing you should check on the bag is the roasting day. This coffee should have at least 2 weeks resting period from the time it has been roasted. After it has been roasted, if you want to keep a full seal coffee bag like this, it can last until 6 months to maximum 1 year. After 1 year, the coffee inside this bag will have lost most of the components that will enable you make a flavor-filled cup of coffee. So if you're still having a sealed bag like this, not yet open, but the coffees inside are grinded coffees, this bag of coffee can be kept until 3 months from the time it was roasted or grinded, because grinded coffee will automatically lose flavor very fast than whole coffee beans. This is why most of the time they don't recommend for you to pre-grind your coffee, because if you grind your coffee, this automatically shortens the shelf life of your coffee. And if you're having already an open bag just like this, but the coffee beans inside are whole coffee beans, you haven't grinded them, these ones are best to be consumed within 1 month. And if you're having an open bag like this, but the coffee beans inside are pre-grinded, it's better to consume that coffee within 2 weeks. So this period of time only apply if you properly store your coffee very well in a sealed coffee container away from the common enemies of coffee. But if you leave your coffee exposed just in a Ziploc bag like this, these coffees won't even last for more than a week. You will see significant change on the different extraction of the coffee. But one very important thing that I would like to share with you in this video is, you can see with me I have 3 different bags of coffee. This is a Colombian coffee, this is an Ethiopian coffee, and this is a Mexican coffee. The reason why I have these 3 different types of coffee beans is to share with you something that many people don't talk about, and this is the different types of coffee beans. For you to have the best experience and for you to know which coffee beans are good for you, you need to have at least the basic knowledge about the different coffee beans. And this is why I would recommend for you to watch this video next, which is a full detailed video showing you how you can properly choose the right coffee beans for you.